I'm very proud for Pastor Haruna. Thank you, Lord. One of my admire his teaching. When he pray, very, very powerful. If you are not soaked in the Word of God, you will slain. You go back to Philippines. Hallelujah. Then, number 3 is Deuteronomy chapter 1, verse 1. Together, we read together. This be the word which Moses spake unto all Israel on this side Jordan in the wilderness, in the plain or against the Red Sea, between Paran and Tupil and Laban and Hazeroth and Disabah. God has led his people out of Egypt and across the great wilderness. Now they stand ready to enter the promised land. But before the Israelites go into the land, Moses has some important advice to give them. He delivered his advice in 3 parts. In the first part, Moses reviewed the history of God's previous care for the people of Israel. Through God's action in the past, we learn about the God we serve today. The Israelites spent 40 years on a journey that should have lasted 11 days. It was not distance that stood between them and the promised land. It was the condition of their heart. God's purpose went deeper than simply transporting a huge group of people to a new land. He was preparing them to live in obedience to Him once they arrived. Their journey was a painful but necessary part of their preparation. Through it, God taught the Israelites who He was, the living God and the leader of their nation. Sometimes we didn't understand why they spent 40 years in the wilderness. We are also 40 years already as a Christian, but still baby Christian. Sometimes we are murmuring, why? Why somebody bless and me not cheap? The question is, what is the condition of your heart? But remember that God is not just trying to keep you alive. He wants to prepare you to live in a service and devotion to Him. Number 4, Proverbs 7 verse 6 to 13. But we read only in. For the window of the household I look through my casement. And beheld among the simple ones and descend among youth and a young bird of understanding. This verse is against the immorality. Passing through the street near her corner, and he went to the way of her house. In verse 9, in the twinkling in the evening, in the black and the dark night. And verse 10, and behold, there met him a woman with the tar as an harlot and subtle of the heart. She is allowed and stubborn, her feet abide not in her house. This chapter is wisdom guards against immorality. Although this advice is directed toward young men, young women should hear us as well. The person who has no purpose in life is simple-minded. In verse 7, without aim or direction, an empty life is unstable, vulnerable, and many temptation. Even though the young man or in this passage does not know where he is going, the seductress knows where she wants him. Make sure your life is full of God's word and wisdom. Recognize the strategy of temptation and run away from them very fast. Kung mamit mo yung mga ganitong ori at hindi kasok ng word ng Panginoon, tumakbo ka na. Run very fast. So, apat na scripture ang understanding God's purpose for your life. Now, we going to God is directing our life for His purpose. In Ruth, verse 2, verse 20. Sabay-sabay po nating basahin. And Naomi said unto her daughter-in-law, Blessed be of he of the Lord, who has not lived of his kindness to the living and to the dead. And Naomi said unto her, The man is near of kin unto us, one of our next kinsmen. Naomi has fared bitter, but her faith in God was still alive. And she praised God for Boaz's kindness to Ruth. In her sorrow, she still trusted God and acknowledged God's goodness. We may feel bitter about a situation, but we must never despair about God's work in our life. Today is always a new opportunity for experiencing God's care. As you go about your daily tasks, God is working in you, in your life, in a way you may not even notice. We must not close the door on what God can do. For the believers, events do not occur by luck or coincidence. We have faith that God is directing our life for His purpose. So recognize that God is directing our lives for His purpose. And number 3 is, God may be protecting you for a purpose. In 1 Samuel 19 verse 23. Sabay-sabay po natin. This one is protecting your purpose. And he went thither to Naioth in Ramah. And the Spirit of God was upon him also. And he went on and prophesied until he came to Naioth in Ramah. This one is when David escaped from Saul. Recognize this. Jonathan spake up for David in Samuel 19 verse 4. But the king covered his face, and the king cried with a loud voice, O my son,